Hey, John.
Eric, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you on this fine Wednesday evening?
I am not caught up on sleep yet, but
Me either.
I did just get home. Literally, like I guess it hasn't been quite an hour yet. But from the final band concert of the year, their spring concert, which was awesome.
I need the happy trumpet sound.
Yeah, and they give all the seniors. Well, they give awards, and it's kind of their award night, and
Yep.
recognize all the seniors, hand out some scholarships, that kind of stuff. So it was good. It was really good, actually. You might have appreciated it in the fact that the concert and symphonic bands played a medley of The Incredibles. So this is their Pops concert. And so they played music from The Incredibles, which was awesome. And then
Fantastic.
and then they played a medley from My Neighbor Totoro, which
Okay.
was awesome. Really, really
Very
enjoyed that.
cool.
So, and then the wind ensemble played what they played at State. So I had heard that before, but it was also
Okay.
it was quite good.
Okay.
Good to hear it again.
Cool.
So anyway, so that was fun. I'm doing good. How about you? Did you have a good
Same,
weekend?
trying to catch up on sleep. No, my weekend was my boy and his camera. He's got an assignment at school to wrap up, and so we went downtown because he wanted to take his fancy camera to do some artistic photos, I suppose.
Long exposure.
No,
No,
sort of. He
guessing.
wanted to go at night. Well, yeah. So here's the thing: is he's like, we should go down after school or after work and eat dinner. There's this place downtown that we like. It's called Dough Zone. It's right on the river, and it's dumplings, pot stickers and dumplings. It's quite good.
Yum.
And so I'm like, all right, but it doesn't get dark until later, right? He's like, well, okay, we'll go a little bit later. So we went like at almost 7 o'clock. We finished our dinner. It's still plenty light outside. And I'm like, what do you want to do for another couple hours till it gets dark? And we kind of hemmed and hawed and drove around for a little bit. And it's still, it's now 8:30. It's still not dark. And he's
Yeah.
like, let's just go home. So
That's okay. Have a
let's
nice
try
dinner
again
out.
tomorrow. Yeah. It was just me and the boy. It was fun. It was fun. So yeah, we had nice food, and I wanted to ask. So we're going to be downtown Friday night, the whole family at
Okay.
the Symphony. I know you're a Symphony guy.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to the Harry Potter?
We are, but I think our tickets are Saturday night. I will have to look, but 100% we have Harry Potter tickets.
Maybe I'll spoil it for you and tell you how good it was, and you'll still go. And discover that for
I
yourself.
have seen I actually don't even know what number this is, but I know that I have seen it before
8 part 1.
multiple times.
It's the last
Oh,
movie,
is that
part
it?
1 of the last
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we have been watching these movies at the Symphony for,
Every year.
I think,
They've
every
been-
year. So
Yeah. They do the next movie
Okay.
every year. They're finally at the end of this series. So
but you're now kind of freaking me out a little bit that I need to double check that, like, if it's only one night and it's Friday night and our tickets happen to be Friday night and I think it's Saturday night, we will be very sad. So
I know someone who has done that before. We won't name names.
yes, okay. So sorry, I'm just looking at the family calendar. It says Saturday, May 25th. So Saturday night. Long day a couple days ago.
Yes, that too. The reason why I'm still not caught up on my sleep is we did a Seattle trip in one day, 6 a.m. to midnight.
Yes,
Made for a long
yes.
day.
It was a very long day, but it was enjoyable. A nice trip, nice dinner. That was good. But yeah, same. I'm still kind of recovering. I am not 22 anymore. I don't know if you're aware of that. So okay, I did have.
I'm not even 2x22 anymore.
At least I'm not 3x 22, but when I get to there, I will be like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Seems younger and younger every day. Okay, so I have two other things to sort of relay to you. The first of which is iPad impressions. So I did get the iPad.
Yes. And
I edited the podcast on it last week. It is very thin. It seems to be about the same weight. I don't know. They're all light enough. I have the brightness is amazing. It's very nice. It's very nice. Very fast. 2 complaints ish. So the first is I of course did not do my homework because I'm me. But I got it on Wednesday, and I think it was must have been Thursday. Anyway, whatever day I got it, I went to I knew I was going to be editing the podcast last week, so I was like, I picked it up, and then I was like, all right, let's see if this pencil works on it. The Apple Pencil 2, I think. And it of course did not. And of course, so then I Googled, does the Apple Pencil work with the new iPad Pro? And of course, the first result is, no, you have to buy an Apple Pencil Pro to work with the iPad Pro.
Of course.
Because they moved around where the sensors are. Cue that in a second. And so where the Apple Pencil 2 connects would have to be different. And so they got a new one, whatever. So they had to move stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
But that gets to my second complaint with it, which is that so my previous iPad had Touch ID. I get it, moving away from Touch ID, but this does not have Touch ID.
Face ID?
Which frankly, I really liked. It has Face ID, but it has Face ID on the bottom of the screen.
What?
Like where you hold it. So
what?
Like I can't figure out how it ever got out of Apple testing. Other than that, maybe they think everybody holds the iPad from the other side, and maybe I have to learn how to do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's bizarre. So literally, like I
thought I saw they moved it to the side. It's not on the top. It's on the landscape.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Oh, sorry. I hold my iPad in landscape all the time, right? Like how I'm holding it in front of you, which nobody online can see. My thumb is covering the sensor right now.
What if you rotated the iPad 180 degrees right there?
Well, then your flap is dangling. Like dangle.
Dangling flaps. Okay. All right. I
so
it does not work
that's
for
what,
your.
But that's what I'm
case.
saying is that maybe people think that you should be holding it the other way.
Well, most people use that dangly flap thing to kind of angle it so that they set it on a table and it's at a slight viewing angle. They don't hold it with their thumb right in the middle of the bottom, except for you, I guess.
This is what I'm saying. Evidently, I'm weird. I don't know, but I have major complaints because,
okay,
yeah, and yeah. So maybe I need to learn to. It's like holding a book by the spine. You don't hold a book by the spine. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway,
you hold a book by the Kindle. That's what you hold a book by.
Well, and if I read in portrait mode, then it would be no big deal because my thumb would be on the bottom instead of on the. But I read in landscape mode. Who doesn't read in landscape mode? I don't know. I'm confused. But anyway, it's my complaint. That's my complaint. You may have different complaints. I am welcome to my own complaints.
Valid complaint, sir. A valid complaint, sir.
And it has like this like little arrow that shows up that says, "Hey, you got to let me see." It bounces on the bottom of the thing when it's covered before it pops
they
up.
They tested it, and they know some subset.
They test
is going to do what you do,
and they decided that the solution was a bouncing arrow. Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
So anyway, but in general, whatever. Okay. I mean, it's better than a broken iPad. So I must say that. Yeah,
absolutely.
So anyway,
to more important stuff. How are your bees?
Okay, they killed all the queen cells that I was trying to make. Yes,
they didn't let one. So I thought that was the point. They let one out and then they kill the rest. They just said, we don't like them. Any of them? I
don't know. I don't know why they did what they did, but they killed them all. It killed, like, not the queens. The queens that they must have torn down, and
Oh.
so I was super disappointed yesterday when I went in to be like, hey, I'm all excited, yay! How am I going to do this? And then I was super disappointed. But
Yeah.
the bees giveth and the bees taketh away. I have a good thing too.
All right. All right.
So when I went out this weekend to say, the first thing I do is I look in the front of the hives and just sort of make sure there's activity.
Right.
And there was activity in front of the second hive in my apiary. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh. And then as I was doing all the other sort of chores I had to do, I was like, wait a second. That hive was a dead out. They died this winter, and I just didn't have room to take them and put it up. I didn't want to deal with it. So I kind of left it out.
Bee squatters.
Like, yeah. And so I was thinking, I was like, oh, they're probably just robbing it out, because there was totally honey still in it. Like up in the hive that died did not starve. And so I was like, oh, they're probably just robbers. And so I went in there, and no, there was like wall to wall bees in there. And I was like, what in the heck? I pulled up a couple frames. I found a queen. I caught a swarm. It was a self-hiving swarm. They
self-hiving swarm. Okay.
Well, I don't know what you call it, but it
that works for me.
So I was unable to make any queens, but somehow I caught a swarm unintentionally. So
okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, we'll see if they're still there after I disturbed them. And so I have 4 colonies making honey. So
okay. I look forward to the future of honey.
I mean, my fingers are crossed. Last year was a very bad year for me, honey-wise. This year, shaping up to be a good one. So
I'm
I'll
crossing
keep you posted.
Both fingers and toes for you.
Uh-huh. I will share.
Okay. You ready for some mostly security?
I'm good for some security topics. What'd you bring me tonight?
So I love this one top to bottom. So, because
tops and bottoms.
Exactly. Well played, sir. Well played, sir. Especially with the quote on the side here. Not the headline. That wasn't as funny as the side quote here was, who could have seen a free laundry exploit for internet-connected laundry machines coming? Part of me is going, me? I played around in security for IoT space. This is absolutely something that would happen if you connect a laundry machine to the internet. Anyways, apparently, this is a thing. Students at University of California, Santa Cruz, so nice out on the coast there, south of San Francisco, have discovered that a company that has internet-connected washing machines, commercial use internet-connected washing machines, that their API was not very secure, and they were able to exploit that API to do things remotely, like command those laundry machines to work without payment. And not only that, they were able to update their laundry account, their personal laundry account, with millions of dollars. They just took their current account balance,
money from that account, Venmo my spare money,
and trade, give me my. And the company that owns it, CSC ServiceWorks, and I'm calling them out here, and you'll see why in a minute. They have millions of these laundry and vending machines all over, colleges, multi-housing communities, laundromats, U.S., Canada, Europe. And these 2 students actually did the right thing. They reported the vulnerability via email and called CSC and said, hey, we found this vulnerability, and never got a response. So I don't know if they actually talked to a human or just left a message on their support line. They tried to do responsible disclosure, and they never got any response. And the students know that the company found out because shortly after they had contacted them, their millions of dollars in their laundry accounts disappeared. So clearly somebody got a message. And so they're like, well, fine, if they're not going to say anything, they published their findings. And this is an article in The Verge, and CSC ServiceWorks didn't respond to The Verge's request for comment. And the point here is, CSC's vulnerability is a good reminder that the security situation with Internet of Things still isn't sorted out. For the exploit the students found, maybe CSC shoulders the risk, but in other cases, lax cybersecurity practices have made it possible for hackers or company contractors to view strangers' security video cameras, gain access to smart plugs, all sorts of IoT things, right?
Yep.
So the point here also kind of, hey, security researchers that are trying to do the right things, report those. And hopefully they, so that other people can't exploit them. It's not very helpful if the company responsible for them doesn't respond. So as far as I know, because this article doesn't say, the bug is still there. I'm sure this CSE ServiceWorks place is trying to figure out what to do. But if your API allows you to add $1 million to your account, you probably have bigger issues than just enabling and disabling laundry machines, washers and dryers.
Wow.
So anyways.
Well, we have a friend whose son is going to UC Santa Cruz. We should check in with him and see if they know Alexander Sherbrooke and Iakov Taranenko.
Yeah.
and neither of those are the last names of the friend that we have. So I'm guessing that they're not involved personally, but pretty.
You got to think that would be a popular thing to know on campus.
It would be a good way to make friends and influence people on campus.
All right.
Oh.
So
yeah.
And then
that's a good one.
Yeah. Then my second article is actually a much more detailed one, which you really got to read and get into the details. It's a Krebs article, Krebs on Security article. And the tagline is, why your Wi-Fi router doubles as an Apple AirTag. So your Wi-Fi router, regardless of whether or not it is an Apple product, because Apple doesn't do Wi-Fi routers, is doubling as an Apple AirTag. Yeah, anymore. So how this works, right? You know how AirTags work, right? They don't actually connect. They just can see different Wi-Fi SSIDs in their vicinity, and they'll report up through, say, hey, this is where, I was seen at this vicinity, right? Near this Wi-Fi router. And so that's what they do. And Google and Apple both have devices that will allow them to locate things using Wi-Fi locations, because Wi-Fi routers generally are in fixed locations where your phone wanders around with you. And so what Apple and Google do, they both kind of do this, they can figure out based on what Wi-Fi routers your device is next to, where you're physically located without having to do the expense of a GPS lookup, using the GPS or cell towers or other landmarks. They can do this through the Wi-Fi routers that are close, that are nearby to you. So Google's wireless service submits a list of nearby Wi-Fi access points and their signal strengths via an API to Google, and then Google responds and needs at least 2 of those, and then they can respond back, here's where that thing is. Here's where that device or your phone or whatever is, right? Well, Apple's API does the same similar kind of thing. However, when you submit here's where I'm located, here's the IDs that I'm nearby, Apple returns the geolocation of up to 400 more SSIDs, Wi-Fi routers, that are also nearby you, nearby the one that you requested.
Weird.
It does sound strange.
Why so many?
And then it uses approximately 8 of those to work out the user's location. And I think the reason here why was so that the device could do all the hard work of figuring out where it actually is, as opposed to having Google, where Google's is, I just need 2 and then I can get you close enough. Apple was apparently trying to find out.
Apple might be trying to not have or store location in centrally.
Yeah, in the
or
cloud.
even compute it centrally.
Yeah, it's some along those lines. So some researchers at the University of Maryland theorized, what could we do with the verbosity of Apple's API to map the movement of individual devices in and out of virtually any defined area in the world? And so they spent about a month digging into that, asking for the location of more than 1 billion SSIDs generated at random. So they just started generating access point IDs.
So they basically just tried to walk the search space.
Yeah. And so out of those billion SSIDs that they queried Apple's API for, they got 3 million of those randomly generated SSIDs returned from Apple's Wi-Fi geolocation API. And Apple, because they would send, for every one you got right, they send 400 extras. Apple returned an additional 488 million locations already stored in its backend that were nearby the 3 million that they randomly found.
Wow.
Interesting. And so the larger Krebs article goes into a bunch more detail. The only other point I wanted to pull out here was the researchers are like, Apple's response addressed the most depressing aspect of the research. There's no way for anybody to opt out. There is no way for me and my router to say, don't use my router to help you map AirTags. And you can imagine why they want all those, because now not only can I do X and Y coordinates, I can do Z if I'm in a tall building. Now I can do Z. So, I mean, it's a very clever use of it, but you don't have to have any of Apple products. If you have an access point and anybody nearby you
broadcasting
owns an Apple device, your Wi-Fi ID is in Apple's database, and that access point is being tracked without you ever opting in, whether you run an Apple device or not. So if you're a pure Apple hater and don't have any Apple devices in your house, the first person who walks in your door with an Apple phone
or drives up front and delivers something to you that has the
delivery guy that has an iPhone.
An iPhone, yeah.
You are now in Apple's database. And so it was only after they disclosed this research to Apple that Apple have decided they have added the ability for people to opt out. I don't know where to, and it's probably further down in the Krebs article. It was a Krebs article, so it was good and long. But I didn't see where I could go and opt out of Apple's thing. So anyways.
I'm just shocked that they didn't change it to return 10 instead of 400. Something along those lines.
Yeah. Why not? You have the data. Send it all. Anyways, so those are my two. If you have Apple devices or routers that are near Apple devices, Apple knows where your router is. High five. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I decided that today would be Microsoft Day.
Okay.
On the Mostly Security podcast for my
Build
topics. Exactly. That's the second one. The first one was actually last week, but I consider it within the window, which was the Patch Tuesday.
Okay.
We haven't talked about Patch Tuesday. We don't talk about it every month. But there were 61 releases last Tuesday, including 2 0 days, which have been actively exploited in the wild.
Ouch.
Only one of the bugs is rated critical, 59 important, and 1 moderate. So a little clustering there around important. But and that does not include the 30 vulnerabilities resolved in Edge, including other 0 days there that have been exploited. But the 2 ones that have been quote weaponized in the wild are the 340 or 30,040 30040, which was the more severe one. It was a MS HTML platform security feature bypass vulnerability, which, I mean, there are so many skeletons in the HTML rendering closet. But anyway, So the point of this, or the comment on this, is that it's an unauthenticated attacker who can, if they successfully exploit this vulnerability, gains code execution as the user, so not root, but as the user, through convincing the user to open a malicious document, at which point the attacker could execute arbitrary code in the context of the user. Sorry, that previous sentence said that convincing the user to open a malicious document. Elsewhere in there, they said that the user just had to, quote, manipulate it. Because there was another sentence farther down the article that said, interestingly, the victim doesn't have to click or open the malicious file to activate the infection. So from this article, I couldn't quite tell. And there have been many times, many other things where, these days, if you just click on a file and it Explorer will try to preview it. And that can be enough sometimes to, trigger whatever the vulnerability is. Second big one is a Windows desktop window manager, core library elevation of privilege, which there weren't details about that in this particular article, at least, but it was says that 3 groups of researchers from Kaspersky, DBAP Security, Weebin Lab, Google Threat Analysis Group, and Mandiant have been credited with discovering and reporting the flaw, indicating likely widespread exploitation. So, reported by a lot of security vendors and researchers, meaning that they are likely seeing telemetry for the exploitation. So that's the first thing. If you got a Windows device, should be already staying up to date. You should have automatic updates enabled. If not, please do that. But patches from last week, really important.
Cool. Yeah.
The second, and maybe a little more fun Microsoft topic, is that the MS Build is this week.
Yep.
And so I chose an article that has a few of the top announcements that were made at Build. I did not have the opportunity to watch the keynote. I might still try and do that this week, but we might have been in a car when that was happening.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. And so here's a top few. I don't think it was 10, maybe just a few though. So the first of which it's all AI all the time. So they co-piloting all the things, which is interesting, and there's some good announcements there. And Microsoft's doing some good stuff with Copilot. But the first one that they have in this Verge article, we'll link here, is AI agents. So Copilot AI agents can soon be used as something like virtual employees that businesses can use for menial tasks like monitoring emails, carrying out a series of automated tasks, helping with employee onboarding, or doing data entry, all without being prompted to do so. Okay. Kind of curious to see how that manages to, or how that works out. But I'm kind of excited for some of this stuff there. I feel like some of the things that Microsoft's doing with their Copilot are more powerful, more interesting than kind of what was done for, the Amazon Tube or, plugins along those lines, which were very much more imperative plugin. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. The second one is that they announced a new AI model called Phi 3 Vision. So it's a version of the Phi 3 AI model that they announced a month ago. It's multimodal, can read text and look at pictures, but it's a small language model that's compact enough to work on a mobile device. So I have not played with this yet, or even Phi 3, but I'm curious about it, and I'm very interested in the multimodal models that are coming out. So I'm looking forward to playing with that. I think, sorry, I forget what's the Gemini small one, Gemma or something like that. Anyway, there's some really interesting work on sort of ranges of models that are being released. Everything from the Gemini Ultra,
Right.
down to something that can actually fit on a phone and run on a phone. So very, very cool stuff. See how that plays out. The third thing is that there's a feature in Microsoft Edge, which I don't use as a regular browser, and this I guess this really isn't a for me thing, but it's very interesting. I think it would be interesting for many people. It says Microsoft Edge can translate YouTube videos while you're watching them. So they're getting a, quote, AI-powered real-time video translation feature that can dub videos from sites like YouTube, LinkedIn.
That's not just transcription, real-time transcription. That's actual, I'm watching it in English, and now it's going to speak to me in Spanish if I want the real-time translation to the language Spanish? Or is it... That's the one that I was curious about.
It's using the word dub.
Yeah.
So it's a sub or a dub. So like I said, I didn't watch the keynote. So I'm sure the answer to your question is explained in the demo that I'm sure they did in the keynote. But since they use the word dub, not the word sub, and since automated subtitles have been around for a very long time, as you can tell from the typos, anytime there's a silent TV behind you in a restaurant, I'm going with
yeah, but
dub.
that doesn't translate. That usually just converts text to or spoken to text. This is I see the word dub there too, and that's interesting. That if now I can watch any video on planet Earth in my native language.
Any language. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some set of language they support, but conceptually, yeah.
There is. I didn't pull it out in what I copied into the notes, but they definitely had a set of languages that they support. So could be very interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be quite cool. I think you were actually trying to figure out a way to get some of these, but they announced the tiny Snapdragon 899 dev kit that has a Snapdragon X Elite chip in it. So I want one as soon as I can find one. Looking forward to getting one of those little bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be cool. Microsoft File Explorer is natively supporting Git. So I don't know. This is my Tortoise SVN plugin, but Explorer Git.
I would hope it's better quality
than Tortoise.
I'm not a Windows person, so I don't know. Maybe Tortoise is just great. I remember having to use it years ago and said, "Give me the command line, please."
Yeah. So
get off my lawn.
So that'll be interesting. And in the watch this space for vulnerabilities, they support 7-zip and tar compression natively. So cue next November's Windows patch Tuesday. So just saying. I don't know. Doesn't take a genius to predict. Okay, next one's kind of interesting, I think. It says, this is the last one that I pulled out at least. Windows adds AI-powered clipboard features in PowerToys. So you can now hit a special key and sort of get paste special. But instead of, paste values or what you do like with Excel, you can paste in different formats. So plain text, Markdown, JSON. Or you can convert by typing into the prompt box, which has other capabilities like I'm reading here, altering or summarizing the text before pasting it. The catch, you'll need an OpenAI API key and credits in your OpenAI account for the AI part.
Okay.
So Microsoft's
if
embedding
I were a Windows user,
AI features.
I might find this interesting.
I
don't know.
I'm kind of keen on that. I like the notion. Don't tell me you haven't taken and copied something and then opened up a notepad or a text editor or VI to paste so that you could just get the text and then copied out of that to kill markup.
Oh,
before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like,
no, done. Correct. True.
Right? Like I sometimes find it ridiculous when I'm like, all right, I'm literally using VI to make sure that I get no symbols.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
It's the easiest thing to do. And anyway. Okay, so that was my second article. That one's, I guess it's security adjacent. But there you go.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing some of those in the wild.
Yeah. All right. My something fun. 3
Okay,
words.
hit me.
3 words. Technically 4, but it's 3 words. Marshmallow Sky Ice Cream. I am a big fan of marshmallows. And when I was younger, there was a soda shop that would do floats or not smoothies. What are they called?
Milkshakes?
Milkshakes. Thank you. A soda shop that would do milkshakes, and they would do a marshmallow milkshake. It was hard to find anybody that does. I love marshmallow. Cold marshmallow I'm a fan. Ben & Jerry's now has a flavor that is a limited time only flavor, which makes me sad that it's limited time, called Marshmallow Sky Ice Cream. And I think everybody should go buy Marshmallow Sky Ice Cream to convince Ben & Jerry's they need to make this a permanent fixture. I have 3 pints in my freezer right now because I was like, please don't take this away from me. I love marshmallow ice cream. And
okay, that's awesome.
It's blue. That's the sky part. So it's artificially flavored.
Weird.
It is blue. It's blue with cookie dough chunks in it.
I would hope that the marshmallows would be the white clouds in the blue sky.
Yes, the marshmallow is the white clouds in the blue sky. So it is blue ice cream, marshmallow flavored ice cream with vanilla flavor, with white marshmallow, swirled throughout the blue sky, and then chunks of cookie dough for, I suppose, ground. I could do without the ground part of the marshmallow sky. But anyways, my something fun this week, marshmallow sky ice cream. You have now learned something about Eric that you will try to quickly forget.
Honestly thought that was remember when, I think Diet Coke had those weird flavors last year? I really thought Marshmallow Sky was one of those weird flavors, and you were like, hey, they're bringing this back or something like that. I didn't catch that it was ice cream or that it was Ben & Jerry's.
Ben & Jerry's ice cream in your freezer today. Go buy a bunch so Ben & Jerry's keeps it and doesn't make it limited time only. Help a guy out.
I don't mind marshmallows, but they're the worst part of Rocky Road ice cream. So
that's the only part of Rocky Road ice cream I like is the marshmallows.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. So anyway, but okay, I am more likely to get and try the ice cream than I am to watch a show. So
I'll take it.
There's that.
I'll take it.
There's that.
You tried episode 3 yet of the 3 body problem?
No, I haven't.
All right.
No, I haven't. I've been busy.
All right.
I've been busy.
Hit me with something really fun.
Well, I don't know how fun this is. This is a potential future fun. Okay. But the title of this Smithsonian magazine article is "Scientists are investigating a puzzling underground anomaly near the Giza Pyramids."
Okay.
So, evidently, they used, what did they say they used? Non-intrusive imaging technologies, ground-penetrating radar, and electrical resistivity tomography to study the site. There's basically a flat area near the Great Pyramid of Giza that does not have any above ground tombs or monuments. So it's basically like a flat area of earth, and it has not been dug up, and there's nothing there from the surface. And these researchers used ground penetrating radar to basically say, is there anything underneath here? And they did. They found an anomaly. So the temples or mausoleums near the pyramids are called. They have these. So it says this ancient necropolis contains many above ground monuments or mastabas dedicated to the pharaoh's family members and high ranking officials. It's a mastaba is a type of tomb with a flat roof and rectangular structure on the ground surface, constructed out of limestone or mud bricks. And they have vertical shafts connected to underground chambers. Many of the site's mastabas were excavated in the 20th century, but this area was vacant with no noteworthy above-ground features, and so it hadn't been examined. So they found a combination of a shallow structure connected to a deeper structure. The shallow structure is clearly L-shaped, and the scans indicate it was filled in with sand after construction. At one point, it might have been an entrance to the deeper structure. Speculation. They have begun excavations, and there's a comment in here that says, quote, the L shape cannot be created in natural geological structures, says Art Newspaper's Gary Shaw. And it says previous excavations have revealed underground chambers that are part of the site's mini mastabas. The graveyard's vacant area, unmarked by such a tomb, had previously avoided exploration, but there's a hint and they've begun. Wow. And so I don't know. So much stuff there was robbed and taken away to, your England that it'll be cool to see what they find maybe. Yeah. So there we go. Something fun. All
right. Yeah. We'll see what they find.
I'm curious. So yeah, there you go. Something fun. All right, my friend.
All right. Yep.
College show.
Thanks, John.
I will talk to you later, Eric.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.